Alright, Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shah, Bahashem, and Kakodash. I want to give double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who taught us this truth and continually teach us this truth. And peace, love, and salutations to the hopeful elect that's laboring in His word and truth sincerity. Okay, Lord willing, this video can be edifying, and Lord willing, it can be exhorting. And it's raining right now, so if you hear a loud background noise, that's what it is. But yeah, I'm entitled this video a few examples of men of the Lord who escaped death. And I got 3 examples. Let me put this in airplane mode. I got 3 examples that I'm gonna hit because we coming into a time where the scriptures, we are in a valley of shadow of death, roughly paraphrasing, but real soon death is going to be everywhere. The bodies say the dead shall be cast out as, the scriptures say the dead shall be cast out as dung. And right now you got this coronavirus spreading like a wildfire. Today we just got new cases in Georgia, and it's getting worse and worse. And real soon, like I said, hey, it could be somebody at your job that could have the coronavirus. You had a tornado that came through today in Nashville, Tennessee, that killed I think it said 19 people. So, like I said, we're coming into a time where death is going to be around every corner. But I got some precepts that that shows men of the Lord being delivered from death. But first, let me get this in Isaiah real quick, because these scriptures is what's going to keep us sane, man. And we not to store up on food and water and buy a whole bunch of face masks and try to do it our way, try to prevent getting sick or dying our way. We're to trust in Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shah. But this is Isaiah 33:6. And wisdom and knowledge shall be the stability of thy times, and strength of salvation. The fear of the Lord is his treasure. And another precept that I should get, which matter of fact, let me go ahead and get that too, since it's going into this video. This is Romans chapter 15 verse 4. For whatsoever things were written aforetime were written for our learning, that we through patience and comfort of the scriptures might have hope. And I'm gonna get some scriptures, like I said, a few examples of our forefathers that were delivered from death. And these things are going to keep us stable during the times of Jacob's trouble. So with no let me stop doing all this talking and go ahead and get these scriptures. All right, this is Acts chapter 28 verse 1. And when they were escaped, then they knew that the island was called Militia, and the barbarous people shewed us no little kindness, for they kindled a fire and received us every one because of the present rain and because of the cold. And when Paul had gathered a bundle of sticks and laid them on the fire, there came a viper out of the heat and fastened on his hand. And when the barbarians saw the venomous beast hanging on his hand, they said among themselves, no doubt this man is a murderer, whom though he have escaped the sea, yet vengeance suffereth not to live. And he shook off the beast into the fire and felt no harm. Howbeit they looked, when he should have swollen or fallen down dead suddenly. But after they had looked a great while and saw no harm come to him, they changed their minds and said that he was a god. So Apostle Paul got grabbed up by a venomous snake. And the scriptures say right here in verse 6 that he was supposed to die. But he didn't die, because like I brought out in my last video, the issues of death come from Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shah. The only way you can die is if the Most High sanctions it. Even if you have the coronavirus or whatever, you won't die unless the Most High sanctions it. What did Yahweh Shah say in Matthew the 10th chapter? He said a sparrow doesn't die unless the Most High sanctions it. roughly paraphrasing. So, hey, something as small as a bird doesn't get put to death unless the Most High sanctions it. So that's what we got to understand. No harm can come to us unless it's sanctioned by Yahweh, by Shem Yahushua. So if this had happened to anybody else, hey, they they would have died. But the Most High had it set up that it wasn't time for Apostle Paul to be taken out, and this is an example of a man of the Lord escaping death. All right, and this is going to apply to us, Lord willing, we're part of the elect in these days that we're approaching, man. When thousands and thousands and millions of people are being put to death, and we're not being affected or touched by death, But let me get my next examples. All right, this is Daniel chapter 6. I'm gonna start at verse. I really should read the whole chapter, but for the sake of time, I'm not going to read the whole chapter. Pretty much, I'm gonna start at verse. I should. I'm gonna start at verse 4. Then the presidents and princes sought to find occasion against Daniel concerning the kingdom, but they could find none occasion nor fault, for as much as he was faithful, neither was there any error or fault found in him. Then said these men, we shall not find any occasion against this Daniel, and so we find it against him concerning the law of his power. Then these presidents and princes assembled together to the king, and said thus unto the king Darius, live forever. All the presidents of the kingdom, the governors, and the princes, the counselors, and the captains have consulted together to establish a royal statute and to make a firm decree that whosoever shall ask a petition of any power or man for 30 days, save of thee, O king, he shall be cast into the den of lions. Now, O king, establish a decree and sign the writing, that it be not changed according to the law of the Medes and Persians, which altereth not. Wherefore King Darius signed the writing and the decree. Now when Daniel knew that the writing was signed, he went into the house, and his windows being open in his chamber toward Jerusalem, he kneeled upon his knees 3 times a day and prayed and gave thanks before his power as he did aforetime. Then these men assembled and found Daniel praying and making supplications before his power. Then they came near and spake before the king concerning the king's decree. Hast thou not signed a decree that every man that shall ask a petition of any power or man within 30 days, save of thee, O king, shall be cast into the den of lions? The king answered and said, the thing is true, according to the law of the Medes and Persians, which altereth not. Then answered they and said before the king, that Daniel, which is of the children of the captivity of Judah, regardeth not thee, O king, nor the decree that thou hast signed, but maketh his petition 3 times a day. Then the king, when he heard these words, was sore displeased with himself, and set his heart on Daniel to deliver him, and he labored to the going down of the sun to deliver him. So really, which it's going to say when I read on, really the king didn't want to, do what he's getting ready to do. But anyway, it says, then these men assembled unto the king and said unto the king, know, O king, that the law of the Medes and Persians is that no decree nor statute which the king establisheth may be changed. Then the king commanded, and they brought Daniel and cast him into the den of lions. Now the king spake and said unto Daniel, thy power whom thou servest continually, he will deliver thee. And a stone was brought and laid upon the mouth of the den, and the king sealed it with his own signet and with the signet of his lords, that the purpose might not be changed concerning Daniel. Then the king went to his palace and passed the night fasting. Neither were instruments of music brought before him, and his sleep went from him. So the king couldn't sleep. He fasted, and he didn't want any music. He was mourning, because he had to keep his word. All right, because he made a decree that, which we just read it. But anyway, it says, then the king arose very early in the morning and went and hastened to the den of lions. And when he came to the den, he cried with a lamentable voice unto Daniel. And the king spake and said to Daniel, O Daniel, servant of the living power, is thy power whom thou servest continually able to deliver thee from the lions? Then said Daniel unto the king, O king, live forever. My power hath sent his angel and have shut the lions' mouths, that they have not hurt me, for as much as before him innocency was found in me, and also before thee, O king, have I done no hurt. So pretty much, just to sum it up for the sake of time, Daniel was delivered from death. All right, he was put into a lion's den, and the Most High had it set up that the lions didn't even bother him. Now the men that went to the king and got him put in the lion's den, they were put in there and they were torn into pieces by the lions. All right, so this is a second example of a man of the Lord escaping death, because some of us may be brought and you know, Esau may say, you know, if you don't take this chip, if you don't, you know, if you don't forsake your power, forsake, you know, calling yourself an Israelite. Hey, just like the time of the Maccabees, where if we didn't eat pork, we was put to death. If we kept the Sabbath, we was put to death. You know, if you don't forsake, you know, this ministry, you're gonna be guillotined. And the Most High can have it to where you might be put into the guillotine, but it might jam up, or instantly the Most High might give you spiritual power, or he might send an angel instantly to deliver you, you know, or if it's your lot, you know, you know, because we understand some of us will be martyred, you know, but these scriptures are going to comfort us when we are in situations where it seems like there's no way out, man. It seems like death is inevitable, you know, which real soon is going to be that way, because hey, this plague is getting worse and worse, and it's going to be more than just the coronavirus. It's going to be more death out here. It's going to be cannibals out here. It's going to be more, because the scriptures say there have not been a time like this, nor shall there ever be. But those that trust in Yahweh B'Shem Yahushua shall be delivered. Daniel trusted in the Most High and was delivered. Apostle Paul, he's a, you know, he's a man of the Lord. Of course, he trusted in the Most High, and you know, he was delivered out of prisons. He was delivered from the venomous snake, you know. And I got one more example of men trusting in the Most High and delivered. This is Daniel chapter 3. I'm gonna just, like I said, for the sake of time, I'm not gonna read the whole chapter, but it's really good to read the whole chapter. But I'm gonna start at verse 10. Thou, O king, hast made a decree that every man that shall hear the sound of the cornet, flute, harp, sackbut, psaltery, and dulcimer, and all kinds of music shall fall down and worship the golden image. And whoso falleth not down and worshipeth, that he should be cast into the midst of a burning fiery furnace. There are certain Jews whom thou hast set over the affairs of the province of Babylon, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. These men, O king, have not regarded thee. They serve not thy gods, nor worship the golden image which thou hast set up. So, you know, they wasn't with worshiping the gods of Nebuchadnezzar. Now, this can apply today, because Esau is going to make it to where if you don't take that RFID chip, which is the mark of the beast, you're going to be guillotined, pertaining to Revelation chapter 20 verse 4. So this, what happened right here, this can apply into the times that we're coming into, because we're hoping the Lord puts the spirit on us to not, you know, take that chip, and we understand the consequences that could happen for not taking that chip, which is being a martyr. Now, verse 13, it says, then Nebuchadnezzar in his rage and fury commanded to bring Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. Then they brought these men before the king. Nebuchadnezzar spake and said unto them, is it true, O Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego? Do not ye serve my gods, nor worship the golden image which I have set up? Now, if ye be ready, that at what time ye hear the sound of the cornet, flute, harp, sackbut, psaltery, and dulcimer, Salakia, if I'm saying these words wrong, and all kinds of music, ye shall fall down and worship the image which I have made well. But if ye worship not, ye shall be cast the same hour into the midst of a burning fiery furnace. And who is that power that shall deliver you out of my hands? Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego answered and said to the king, O Nebuchadnezzar, we are not careful to answer thee in this matter. If it be so, our power whom we serve is able to deliver us from the burning fiery furnace, and he will deliver us out of thy hand, O king. But if not, be it known unto thee, O king, that we will not serve thy gods, nor worship the golden image which thou hast set up. Then was Nebuchadnezzar full of fury, And the form of his visage was changed against Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. Therefore he spake and commanded that they should heat the furnace 7 times more than it was wont to be heated. Okay, so he put them in there. Let's go ahead and jump down. Let's jump down. He put them in there, verse 23. All right, they were put into the fire. Verse 24, then Nebuchadnezzar the king was astonished and rose up in haste and spake and said unto his counselors, did not we cast 3 men bound into the midst of the fire? They answered and said unto the king, true, O king. He answered and said, lo, I see 4 men loose walking in the midst of the fire, and they have no hurt. And the form of the 4th is like the Son of the Most High. So here it is. These men were in fire and they were walking around as if they wasn't in the fire. Okay, so you can finish up. I'm not even gonna finish, but these men escaped death. All right, these men escaped death, and these were 3 examples of men of the Lord escaping death. Now there's more, but these were just the 3 that I wanted to bring out. But Lowell in this video is edifying. I know I did a lot of talking, but hopefully, this video is edifying and exhorting. And with that, I'm going to say shalom.